hey, I just want to say how proud I am of this team. You know, you guys look amazing. Vanisher, I have no doubt you look amazing too. Now, this is a family that I've always dreamed of having, and oh shit, I just get a little chipped up sometimes.
I hate to interrupt, but is anybody nervous about the high winds?
Gary.
My name's Peter.
I realize that you're new to this, but relax. You've been chosen by a higher power.
Did he just call himself God?
I think he did.
I'd like to go home.
And I'd like the McRib to be available year-round. But sometimes dreams don't come true. I spent 10 years in Special Forces. You think we didn't jump out of the plane because of a light breeze? You're in the shit now, Mustache!
I'm only yelling to impress the other guys. I'd never let anything happen to you, Sugar Bear.
Laird! Hit it!
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Full Metal Analysis. I'm your host, Bruce Diggy. I got my co-host, MJ Detroit Marcus, with me. And unfortunately, we lost in the NFC Championship game, man. And like Deadpool said, man, before we get into the bad stuff, I just got to say I'm completely proud of this team this season, man. They exceeded our expectations, and they did what nobody thought they was going to do this season. So to that, I say I commend them, man, and I'm very proud of them this season. How you feeling, Mark?
Yeah, I pulled that clip, man, because I feel like Deadpool said a lot in there. You know, how proud he is of his team. But my favorite thing really is, like, you know, we in it now. There's no surprises. We here. We did lose that game. We're gonna get into it, but I think it's safe to say that I feel like this loss didn't really hit me as bad as it may have hit some other people.
Man, I would have been right there in the same boat with you. I mean, I think that if they had made it into the Super Bowl, regardless of what happened, I would have been. I wouldn't have cared. But I think this loss hit me so hard because we thought all year that San Francisco was a better team than us, and we came out. We went up 24-10, and I just knew that we was gonna win, man, and for it to be pulled, the rug to be pulled right under us, I think I would have took it better if they had just came out and straight up beat us. But I don't think they beat us, man. I think we beat us. You know what I'm saying?
And I heard somebody say that this morning. I heard somebody put it back because one guy was like, "Yeah, I'd rather them just beat us and whatever." I feel like I got it both ways, man. I feel like I got the best. It wasn't the best of both worlds, but I feel like I got both of those things. I feel like they destroyed us in the second half, but we destroyed them in the first half. So it's like we were there and we lost. At the end of the day, we only lost by 3. But at the same time, we did kind of get blown out. But at the same time, we blew them out in the first half. And then, you know, what was the cause in between? We're gonna talk about that all during this pod. But it just, the way it was going, it was just such a slow burn, man. And I mean, we might as well get into it. The momentum, once the momentum shifted, I was just waiting for something to happen to shift the momentum back. And when nothing ever shifted it back, it was just a slow death. You know, it was a slow death. You know, just to skip ahead on that fourth down. And I think you texted me and you was like, but I know they should have kicked it. And to be honest with you, it was not a question in my mind that they were not going to kick that field goal on that third, fourth down. It was no question in my mind. I would have been, you know, usually I'm shocked if they go for it. I would have been shocked if they didn't go for it, and they didn't get it, but that's neither here nor there. But it was such a slow death that by the time it was over, like, All right, I had time to appreciate the season while I was watching them fall apart.
Yeah, man. And that was a big topic I heard this morning. Dan Campbell, was it his fault? Should he have kicked the field goals? And man, I've been rocking with Dan all year long, man. I've been saying the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I know with it. I like the aggressiveness. But you know what I'm saying. But I can't totally blame him, man. Me personally, the first time they was down close, I would have took the 3 points. But I'm with you on that second time they went for it on fourth down. The field goal to tie the game wasn't gonna, after they took the lead, the field goal to tie the game wasn't gonna help us out, man. We needed to score in that moment. So I'm not too much mad about that one. The other one, I think he should have kicked the field goal. The first one, I think he should have kicked the field goal. But at the same time, Josh Reynolds, man, you got to catch the ball, man. It hit you in the hands. I mean, you got to catch that.
Yeah. Okay. CJ Gardner-Johnson, I don't like, but there are guys on the team that I don't really care for. I don't. It's not that I don't care for them. It's guys on the team that I was talking about earlier, where I was like, they this and this and this. But Josh Reynolds was one of those guys. We talked about him earlier, and I told you, Josh Reynolds, whatever. And then after I said that, like, he was making big catches after big catch, and he proved himself as a valuable part of this team. And it was just I don't know what it was. It's, did they choke? Did he choke? Did he choke in particular? It wasn't the best pass. Obviously, the old adage, get your hands on it, you got to catch it. And it was a catchable ball. I'm sure if you ran that play in a loop, he would have caught it a majority of times that he didn't catch it. And just that one time he didn't catch it. As far as going for it, that one was probably my biggest disagreement. Going into halftime, see, my thing, I'm not mad at Dan Campbell. Just Dan Campbell is who he is. He has his philosophy. He's entitled to his philosophy. This is his team. It's just, I just got a fundamental disagreement, but I'm not gonna be mad at him because that's who he is. That's what he's gonna do. He chose to kick that field goal before halftime, and I thought he was gonna go for it. I really did. And to be honest with you, in hindsight, if he didn't get it, who knows? Maybe I would have been mad, but they might have got that, but they might not have. Who knows? But even so, I probably could have lived with that one. I probably would have been mad about that. So I'm not even going to really talk about that one. But it was the second one. It was the Josh Reynolds play that really got me, because momentum just shifted after that. I knew it wasn't a doubt in my mind that coming out of halftime, the 49ers were going to march downfield and they were going to score. Now, maybe they got a field goal, but I was pretty sure that they were going to go downfield and score a touchdown. This is the best team in the NFC all year. So when that happened, then you get down on fourth down. Now you gotta stop the bleeding. You gotta, in my opinion, you gotta kick the field goal. You gotta stop the bleeding. Make it a 3-possession game again. Because to your point, that's the style they have. And I doubt it was by design, but that's the style of football they have been playing. They build a lead in the first half, and then they hold on to it in the second half. And by kicking a field goal, you are extending your lead, and you got something longer to hold on to. And you just buy it. That's what they've been doing. They've been bleeding teams out, going into the deep end. Like Dan Campbell said, we're gonna go in the deep end. We're gonna drag you down with us, and we're gonna stall you out till one of us comes out on top. And by building that, by kicking that field goal, you would have built that lead and had something else to go forward with.
Yeah, man. I agree with you, man. I think that that fourth down, they went for it in the second half. The first one, that was the turning point of the game. I like I said, I think he should have kicked the field goal there, but I've been rocking with him all season, and but that was the turning point in the game. I don't know if it was just the pressure that got to him. I mean, all playoffs long, they only played one good half of football, but they were able to pull their bootstraps up when it mattered the most and hold it together. But this time, I don't know if it was the pressure that got to them. This time, they weren't able to do that, man. Dan Campbell went for it. Josh Reynolds dropped the ball. He dropped multiple passes after that. Even Sam Laporta was dropping passes. St. Brown dropped a pass. We went for it again late in the and we went for it later in the game after they took the lead. We didn't get that one. I think that was another drop. That was Goff rolling out and throwing a ball on the run, which we know he can't do. Even still, we could have held it together, but then Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles on our own 30-yard line, and at that point, I mean, we were just in a world of trouble. I think we just lost so much momentum at that point, man, and it was just I don't even know how to get it back. And Vildor, man, I mean, man, you got an interception right down the field that would have that was a major moment for me too. You had an interception that would have gave us the momentum back. We could have put our offense back on the field, and probably could have ran a little bit more clock. But you missed the interception that hits you in the hands, and then it hits you in the face mask. And Ayuk catching it was just a fluke. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man.
That play. I don't feel. I know that play is getting a lot of talk, but maybe I'm being a conspiracy theorist here. But they threw a flag on that play, and they threw the flag as soon as Vildor made contact with Ayuk. It was boom. The referee was quick on the trigger. He threw that boy as soon as contact was made. And in my head, that I was waiting on the illegal contact, defensive pass interference. I don't know what they, whatever. But I think they would have called him for illegal contact. But with the result of the play, I think they just picked up the flag. But had he intercepted that, I feel like they would have said illegal contact.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I thought it was a shady play, but then when they went back and showed the replay, I was like, they couldn't even have called that because Ayuk ran into him. Like he was the player making the play on the ball, and Ayuk ran into him. So I was like,
I mean, he was in front, but he was in front of him, but he kind of stopped, and Ayuk ran into him and drove him, like pushed him back to go get the ball, and it was crazy. It bounced off his helmet back to Ayuk. But I think they would have definitely called Vildor for a penalty, and it would have nullified the whole play. So that's how I cope with it.
Yeah, but it was like a 40, 50-yard play, man. Put them into scoring position. They scored like immediately after that, and immediately after that, Gibbs fumbled the ball, and man, that's so much of a momentum shift, man. Because it's like 14 points in only a few minutes. You know what I'm saying? And I think that took the air out of everybody, man. And
yeah, man, I was playing I was just thinking about, like, I was playing basketball a couple weeks ago, and I did this move that I do. I've done this move so many times playing basketball, where it's like a fake handoff. So I got the ball, but I'm dribbling, right? So I'm dribbling, and I got my guy curls around me, and it's basically like I got the ball, but I set a screen while my guy curls around me, and then he might be open for a pass because I kind of bump his defender, like a pick route in football.
Right.
And so his defender was trailing him. So when I went to go bump him, he sidestepped my bump, whatever. And then I've done this 1,000 times. I do a behind the back dribble as I'm turning around because we're all facing the opposite of the basket. I do a behind the back dribble to readjust and turn around, face my basket. I bounce it one time, and then on the second, I'm waiting for the ball to come up to my. I bounce it with my right hand. I'm waiting for it to come up to my left hand, and I bounce it. And I'm just waiting, and the ball never came to my hand. And I look up, man, and the defender that I was trying to pick off, he left his man, and he saw as soon as I dribbled it, he just let his man go, and he just stole the ball from me. And after that, I'm not saying that my whole game changed or anything, but I'm just saying it's human instinct. Now you're gonna think twice the next time you do a move like that. And the time it takes to think twice is gonna slow that move down, and you got to get back to a point where you doing it naturally again. You're not thinking about it, and that's been my whole thing with the Lions and with Dan Campbell. He's a great coach, but these fourth downs, now when you get them, yeah, you just doubled your own momentum, or you just got momentum on your side, blah blah blah, whatever. But when it doesn't work, it in my mind, it sets off a chain of events, and that's when you start getting, the Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles and Josh Reynolds dropping balls, because Josh Reynolds dropping the ball was a result. So once that happens, now everybody's like, oh shoot, now we gotta do a little bit more now, because we kind of behind, and now people start pressing, people start thinking, people get out of their rhythm, and you just waiting for something to get you all back in rhythm. But the problem with this was you playing the number one team in the NFC.
Yeah, man. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think it was a result of everybody lost control of that game. Usually, like I said earlier, we can pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, and when things start going wrong, we can hold tight, and we can make plays. You know what I'm saying? But it's just this time, the plays that we usually make, we didn't make them. Dan Campbell, going for it on fourth down and not getting them. Josh Reynolds not catching the ball. Ben Johnson going away from the running game. I mean, a lot of people had a part in the loss. Once it started going bad, and it was just, I don't know, man. It was just our time. I want to say that we just like the Bears and the Packers game, man. I think that it was just, I don't know. We lost the grip on the game. It was a big time moment. Like you said, we were playing the San Francisco 49ers, and we just couldn't get it back, man. And you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it was one person to blame. I think it just fell apart, and we didn't. Our grit didn't work this time.
Yeah. I mean, it's the reason the San Francisco was number one seed. So when you playing the other teams that's making mistakes as well, they might give you what you need, but in that second half, San Francisco did everything right. Brock Purdy kept plays alive. They weren't dropping balls. He was spreading the ball around. That defensive line, I mean, they was shutting people down. We ran that terrible run in the fourth quarter, where they just shut Montgomery down at the goal line, and then that compounded into using one of our timeouts, which ended that essentially ended the game. That was a disaster.
Yeah, man, and that was the other thing I forgot, man. Brock Purdy, man. These niggas, man, had so many opportunities to sack this nigga, man, and they just couldn't get to him. Like, they were right there. All they had to do was grab him and throw him on the ground. I think that happened like 4 or 5 times, man. They were right there within arm's reach. All they had to do was grab him, throw him on the ground, and he breaks out and runs for like 15, 20 yards. And it's just something that we've been having problems with all year. Running quarterbacks, like you've been saying, is our kryptonite. But I didn't think that we were gonna have that problem with Brock Purdy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Yeah, Lamar Jackson, I can understand it. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't think Brock Purdy was gonna get off on us like that. And like you said, man, he kept a lot of players alive right when we needed the ball back, right when we needed to, because we got him third down a few times, and it just didn't. We just couldn't get it back.
Yeah, I'm with you. Who I would have never thought, if you would have told me Brock Purdy would have ran for 50 yards in that game, I would have been like, I don't think so. Really, everybody, myself included, thought the pathway to a victory was, Brock Purdy disappearing and imploding. But Rodrigo had that one interception, but other than that, that was about the only flaw he had during the game. Even in the first half, he was efficient moving that ball. He even threw that one crazy pass that Jennings went up there, Sky, and pulled down that rebound. Like it was a good game by him. And yeah, I'm with you, man. Hey, we easily could have won the game. And I think even though, us being able, the fact that we could have won that game, that means something to me. Now, if if this was like our third year or something like that, and this was a divisional round or a wild card game and we lost, that would hurt. But this being our first year, making the playoffs since the Stafford era, and being in the Final Four, and the future looking bright, that I can't be mad because I know we said at the beginning of the year, if they beat the Chiefs, hey, the sky's the limit, and that turned out to be true because making the NFC Championship game, that's pretty high up there. We could have won, and to your point, and I disagree with people are saying. You kind of threw it out there a little bit, but if we went out there and got blown out and there was no answers, that would have had me antsy, man. That would have had me, back to before we even started this pod, like back when it was like, man, what are the answers? Like, is it Dan Campbell? Is it him gambling to go on these fourth downs? Is it we don't have any Pro Bowlers, any All-Stars? Is it the quarterback? Is it defense? We was questioning everything back then. But now I don't feel that way. I feel like I just feel like the 49ers were a better team at the end of the day, and we got work to do. Some stuff we could clean up. But if we played that game again, hey, if we play that game 10 times, the Lions are going to win some of those games. The Niners, in my mind, will win more than you would think. But we'll win the majority of them. But the
I
Lions.
lost you for a second, Marcus.
Oh, no, I was saying if you played that game 10 times, I feel like the Lions will win some of them games. I feel like the Niners will win a majority, but this team is a legit team. They got pieces. You got to figure out what you're going to do with the salary cap and what you're going to do in this offseason. But, the fact that it's not, the same old Lions, I could take that loss.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, man. Last night did sting. Once we did that first half, I got hyped up. So, but to your point, man, moving forward, I'm sure going forward we're gonna have a few podcasts to discuss this in future details. Like we will be on, just so everybody knows, we will be on discussing the future of the Lions, the drafts. Anytime we have any big news with the Lions or any of the other teams. So since the season is over, we'll be on. But moving forward, a friend of mine, my homeboy, he's one of our watchers, Truth, asked me, so what do I think about golf now, man? And somebody else asked me the same thing too. And all I could say was, man, golf earned my respect this season, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at golf. I mean, he didn't cost us to get these games in this game right here, and he was okay, man. Like it was like he was okay. If the Lions did sign him, I can't even be mad at it because he held serve the whole time, man. My thing would be that if I could improve in that position, I definitely would. If I had somebody who could, run when the pocket breaks down, if I had somebody who could convert those hook and ladders that they were desperately those flea flickers they were desperately trying to get off, with arm strength and and you know what I'm saying, and just upgrade at the position, I would take it. But at the same time, man, Goff did what he was supposed to do, man, and I'm not mad at that. The only flaw in that logic would be that you're gonna have to pay him, and unless he decides to take some type of pay cut, you're not gonna be able to play all the other players that you put around him to make him that successful. So I think that's where I'm at with Goff.
Two things. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Two things.
Now I can. I lost you.
I thought Goff played a good game. I've been more open to the idea of re-signing them than you have. Because you know what it is. I think the same way that I have accepted, it's the same way that you've been more open to the idea that Dan Campbell's gonna go for it, and it's the same thing. Dan Campbell's gonna go for it. Jared Goff is gonna underthrow people. It's gonna happen. To your point, that flea flicker to I think that was Reynolds he was throwing to. But yeah, that boy was super short. He had pressure in his face. He couldn't get that one off. But then he turned around and he overthrew Gibbs. But he definitely
and
missed.
J-Mo.
You talking about J-Mo was double covered, but he had him beat, and the ball went through. You talking about that last one on the flea flicker?
Yeah, when he was in the end zone. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't in the basket there. You know what I'm saying?
It went like if he would have made it, it literally was in the basket. Like if J-Mo would have put his fingers together and made a hoop, it went right through the hoop.
I don't know. I had to go back and look at it. What I saw was it was in his grasp, but it was just a little bit. It was just a little bit out of there. So I don't know. I mean, either way, at least he got the ball there on that one. But
and I thought it was so interesting. I don't know. Maybe I was buying. Maybe I'm just always looking for an angle on something. But I thought it was interesting that with the season on the line on 4th and goal, Goff threw to J-Mo in the back of the end zone, and to J-Mo's credit, he caught it. But I just thought that was an interesting, decision to go to J-Mo in there, because oftentimes we hear about how J-Mo and Goff, they got to work on their chemistry, they got to work on their trust, and da. But with the season on the line, or was Goff just like, just throw it to J-Mo, he'll take it. Who knows? But the other point, I've been thinking about this. I know you've been talking about it, extending Goff and then keeping the thing around and blah blah blah. But I can't really pull it up while I'm on my phone too. But I did look at a thing, and when we think of re-signing Goff, we think of paying Sewell and paying Amon-Ra, and you're gonna start paying these guys da. J-Mo's gonna need a contract coming up. What you gonna do with him? But it's always, we usually don't talk about the defense, because if I got to make budget cuts, there are more people expendable on the defense than there are people that I would be hard pressed to keep. I know your boy Gardner Johnson. I keep hearing that he's like an $8 million cap hit. He's a 1-year deal. Vitae. I put anyway. I had a list from June or July of the top 20 biggest cap hits for the Lions this season, and obviously Goff was at the top. Ragnow and Decker were up there, but then you had guys like CD Deuce. You had Okwara, the guy that got hurt, Mosley, Emmanuel Mosley. Like these were some of your top players, and you could go up and down the list. Start with Okwara, Julian Okwara, Benito Jones. But he's not making a lot of money. But still, I'm just saying, you kind of would want to keep
Charles Harris.
Charles Harris was on the list. Charles Harris, great one. Then you got the secondary. Jerry Jacobs. I think they put him on IR, but he's pretty much done. You got.
I don't think they hold on to Tracy Walker.
Tracy Walker, so there's cuts. I mean, you would like to keep Barnes, but if you traded Barnes, Barnes made some plays, but I don't think that would ruin your defense. Like honestly, the guys that I'm worried about, I want to keep Anzalone, Hutch, your safeties, and Brand.
I don't think you keep Barnes. Jack Campbell has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, but he on his rookie deal.
Right. No, I'm just saying he has a lot of work to do, but but you got him, so that's why I wouldn't keep Barnes.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So and I agree with you, man. I think, and that was my other point that I forgot to say, man. We got this far this season, and I don't think we had a complete team. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we will address a lot of that this offseason coming up. That's why I said we're gonna have a few shows to discuss the future of the Lions and what cuts they do make and who we do sign in the offseason and the draft picks that we will make. Because I honestly feel like Brad Holmes, everybody was saying this wasn't supposed to be the year anyway. You know what I'm saying? Next year was supposed to be the year, but we super exceeded those expectations. But we've been short a defensive lineman and another edge all season long. We've been short another corner all season long. We needed I think we needed some more depth in offensive line because anytime somebody got hurt, it was just a major panic issue. I feel like we could use maybe there's no telling. I think J-Mo, to your point earlier, I think J-Mo and Goff grew chemistry throughout the year. They didn't have it at the beginning of the season, but that was because he didn't play all last year and he missed 6 games this year. So it took him for a minute for them to get on the same page. But by the end of the season, even though he wasn't targeted as much as we thought he would be, they gained that chemistry. And I just think at that point, by the time he came back, he just wasn't in the game plan. So they can game plan for him. But I wouldn't be mad if we got another receiver because I don't think we're going to keep Donovan People-Jones or Josh Reynolds is 50-50. I don't know how Antoine Green is going to work out. He made the roster, but barely, and he wasn't looking good. He looked good in the preseason, but it was real shaky. And then the kicker, you know what I'm saying? So these are some of the issues that I think will be addressed in the offseason. And we made it this far with the team that we had, even with those gaping holes in our team. And once we address those, this is the NFL. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if you're going to get this chemistry again. But I'm with you, man, with what you said earlier, man. The future looks hopeful. The future looks bright. And I think that with the team that we have, it's no telling if Ben Johnson or AZ are coming back either. But with the team we have, man, with the core pieces that we have, I think we can do a lot of damage in the next few seasons, man. All the other team around us are getting better as well. But I think we will get 10 times as better as we were this season. And to your point, even though San Francisco did win that game, they pulled it together, they did what they needed to do. I think we were the better team on the field, man. San Francisco had the experience and we didn't, man. We got a lot of young players, and I think the moment just got the better of them.
Going into the draft last year, my guy was Christian Gonzalez. I think he only played like 4 or 5 games before I think he broke his arm and he was out for the rest of the season. But the 4 or 5 games he played in, he was respectable. He's a long corner. He's just a long corner, and that's what I really wanted us to see us get. I know people are down on Cam Sutton. I was down. I'm not gonna say I was down on Cam Sutton at the beginning of the year, but I just was like, and he was, Cam Sutton did a good job. Even these last games, people dogging him like, man, he got torched, but at the same time, these are the same people that are like, oh, the NFL is weak now. You can't touch the receiver. It's all about offense. But then you're going to turn around and be like, man, Cam Sutton is just getting burned out there. But Cam Sutton and Dan Campbell said a lot last night during his post game. He talked about how he wants guys that, it's not really about he wants guys that are good players, but really he wants guys that aren't afraid of the challenge. If they do get knocked down, they're going to get back up. And Cam Sutton is one of those guys. That's why he likes Cam Sutton. And Cam Sutton got torched, but Dan Campbell's like, it's going to happen. And people who are dogging Cam Sutton, just the disrespect, just the disregard for the fact that this guy lined up against the top 10, like guys from the top 10 wide receivers in the NFL. It just blows my mind. And not only did he line up against them, he was by himself. Like, he didn't have safety help. He out there on the island playing, one-on-one with these guys. These guys run routes against people and they sleep, bro. Like, you are not stopping these guys. That's why they all pro receivers. And even Debo. Debo is not I don't watch enough Debo, but I feel like it's safe to say Debo is not a great route receiver. Debo is just different, man. And he's a hard-nosed football player that gets yards by any means necessary. And he's shifty, he's strong, and he's just a football player. So Debo wasn't out here getting crazy yards, but he was out here getting yards. But I don't think Cam Sutton did a terrible job against him, So my number one priority this offseason is a corner. If not a corner with that first pick you got, then a defensive lineman, preferably an end, or you could go a defensive tackle.
Right.
After that, hey, they could do whatever they want, who the best player available. Grab a kicker somewhere in there. The kicker is such a great chicken or the egg question. Like, does Dan Campbell not kick because he don't trust his kicker, or does Dan Campbell just want to go for it just because no matter who he got back there? We'll never know the answer to that, but
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think it's a little bit of both.
Could be.
I don't think that he would completely not go for it on 4th down if we had a better kicker, but I also think that he would kick it more if we had a better kicker. Like, if you got an all-pro kicker, or not even all-pro, but if you got a respectable kicker in there are a lot of situations that I thought that Dan Campbell would have took the 3 if he had that in his pocket. But I just don't think he trusted either kicker. We started off the season with a whole different kicker, and then when we shifted to this guy, they were even saying in the press conferences, this guy's a little bit better, but they're pretty much the same. So, and that's where I'm at with it. There's
got to be a reason that they stuck with these two guys, though. They even had this guy last year, and they brought him back. Out of all the kickers in the NFL, they brought this guy back.
Well, I don't think it was. I don't think it was a real big market for kickers this year, man. I mean, I'm not. I can't say for sure, but from what I was hearing, that there weren't a lot of great kickers as free agents in the market this season.
Yeah, but nobody would say Badgley's a great kicker, or you know, Badgley's just a guy. He's just a kicker. And out of all the people you could have brought in, you could have brought in somebody else, like they did. They brought in Patterson, and they didn't like him, so they went right back to Badgley again, who was okay last year. He wasn't great last year, but there's guys that have a better accuracy than Badgley. Like for instance, I know my man, just because I like my man because he wear the glasses, but I think it's Rodrigo Blankenship. He was on the Colts about 2 years ago, and they cut him. And I don't think he's on the team this year. But his numbers, I don't know why he can't, get a job. But as far as I remember, I used to always have him on fantasy. He's a pretty accurate kicker, and they never heard anything about him. So I don't know. It's got to be something to Badgley that they like. And if he was such a bad kicker, I feel like they would have made some type of effort to replace him.
I don't think he's a bad kicker. I just don't think he's a good kicker. You know what I'm saying? And it clearly, for Brad Holmes, it clearly wasn't time. It wasn't a focus of his. It wasn't his main concern. I think he was more concerned with trying to change our defense from the worst defense in the league to what we ended up being. I mean, he actually tried to make it way better, but we ended up being like somewhere in the middle of the pack. You know what I'm saying? And I think his focus was just somewhere else, and they just weren't too concerned with a kicker. But
what do you think was what do you think is a bigger? What do you think is more important? What would you say is more important, a backup quarterback or a kicker?
A kicker.
I would agree with that, but and he went out and he got Teddy Bridgewater because in case Jared Goff did go down, he wanted to be prepared. So I feel like he felt like he was prepared from all sides. I don't know, man. We talking about a kicker at the end of the day.
I mean, but it's like talking about special teams, though, man. I mean, special teams is not as important as the other ones, but they do factor into the game. And yeah, it's easier to say that a kicker is more important than a backup quarterback, but we probably wouldn't be saying that if Goff did get hurt this season.
Yeah, I would, yeah. Yeah. But for excitement, I would like to see Hooker. I would have liked to see Hooker go out there just for excitement. It wouldn't have ended well. It would have ended horribly, but it would have been fun to watch.
Well, like if you are planning on moving on to Hooker, man, I forgot where I was listening to it, but somebody said something that really resonated with me, man. It was about quarterbacks. Nowadays, you draft a quarterback and they come in and they start right away, but it didn't used to be like that. Almost every quarterback that was drafted had to sit on the bench for 1 to 2 years before they even got in the game. But now it's so fast that, man, a lot of the times these quarterbacks, even if they are good, we never had the time to find out because they're thrown in the fire so quickly that a lot of them, it's either sink or swim, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of them, I think, may have the opportunity to be good, but they never get to that point because they were thrown in the fire and their confidence gets destroyed. And now they're damaged goods. Nobody wants to take a chance on them. And when they finally do get a chance to get out there and make some plays, it's usually in a bad situation.
Yeah, off the top of my head, the 4 quarterbacks I could think that got at least that weren't. They got some of them did get play time, but for the most part, most of them got at least a year before they were named a starter. You think of Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Jordan Love. and
Yeah.
all those guys are good to great quarterbacks right now. So it's something too, letting guys develop and learning the game before you put them out there. If we could do that with Hooker, that'd be awesome. Me, man. I was Team Hooker from jump. But
Yeah,
what we're
I
gonna do?
still am.
Well, I still am. I'm still a big fan of Hendon Hooker, but I don't know what you do with Hendon Hooker. I don't know. Right? Thankfully, you don't got to make that decision today.
Right.
But I think the right thing to do is to re-sign Jared Goff. Football aside, man, the fact that this guy is the leader of this team, and the same way I was Team Hooker from day one, I was anti-Goff from day one. And to see this guy develop and take ownership of this team, and to stand up there and answer the questions and be the same guy every day, I can't hold you up, man. Like I've watched this guy grow. The the disdain that I had for him when we traded for him back then, that's gone. Listening to watching the Pistons game and watching the fans just out of nowhere, Jared Goff. That's what's up, man. That's a cool moment, and I'm not gonna take that away from him. I'm not gonna hold no grudge against him. Like I'm gonna believe what my eyes tell me, and right now my eyes tell me that this guy is the leader of the team. He got the offense under control, so I can't say not to re-sign this guy. You hope that it's not something that if you find out he becomes the highest paid quarterback in football and it's a crazy contract, then man, even that I could live with, but with that, it's gonna come with expectations, and I'll turn on them quick, but by that time it's too late, and then now you gotta figure that whole thing out. So where Hendon Hooker fits into all of that, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I hope it all works out, but I don't know. I can't tell you how it's gonna play.
So, man, the Jared Goff thing is complicated for me, man. And I know I gave some of my thoughts on it earlier, man. But I think, man, I was right. I was okay. So when we made the trade for Goff I was kind of disappointed, but I was like, well, let's give him a chance. And you was like, nah, man, nah, it's gonna be all bad. I did fantasy on this guy. I'm telling you right now. And I was like, nah, Marcus, nah, give him a chance, man. And then that first season happened, and I was right with you, man. I was like, nah,
I think my words was this is the worst quarterback ever. And he was like, no, it can't be that bad. I was like, ever.
Yeah, man. And before long, man, after that first season, I was right with you. He was making mistakes after mistake. He couldn't hold on to the ball. He gave the ball over every chance he get. He couldn't. He was missing guys. He was overthrowing, underthrowing, overthrowing. You name it. You know what I'm saying? He was doing it. So I was just like, man, nah, this guy isn't it. But over the last 2 seasons, man, midway through the last 2 seasons, man, I agree with you. This guy stepped up. I like the way he handles himself. I like the way I've come to respect him, man. He actually is the leader of this team. And I think that he's come a long way. I like Goff now. I like Goff, man. I truly do. I like his poise. I like his personality. The way he handles the reporters and the questions. The way the team respects him and they gather around him, even when people are down on him. I like the guy, man. But my thing is, but what if Hendon Hooker is who we think he is? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if he is the guy that can, make the throws that we want him to make, that can, break off for, a 15-yard run? Not nothing like Lamar Jackson, but the same shit that Brock Purdy did to us yesterday. I mean, what if this is a guy, like I said earlier, you always looking to improve a spot. What if you can get a guy in that position that is just that can do the things that Jared Goff can't do. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to judge that. I think a lot of people down Hendon Hooker because I've heard both sides of the fence. I've heard people that want to get rid of Goff, and I can understand that, and I can heard the people that are down the Hooker and I can understand that. But I think they're only down the Hooker because Jared Goff is with Jared Goff. We've had the most success that we've ever had, and people are scared to move on from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you got a better guy waiting in the reins, why wouldn't you take that? Put him out there. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a guarantee that he will be, but it's not for us to decide. Hendon Hooker will be in practice. The coaches will see Hendon Hooker, and they should be able to tell if he's a better quarterback than Goff or not. And as far as Goff goes, yeah, I don't think you have to extend him. Goff has one more year left on his contract, and I mean, I don't know how he's gonna feel about it, but I think you just let him play out his last year of his contract, man, and see what you got in Hooker. And if it's not there, then extend him. It may be some hard feelings, but at the end of the day, this is business.
Yeah, I hope they don't go that route. I would rather they see. I would go that route, but I would clean it up. I feel like that way that's a bad. It gives off a bad picture. But my route is to your point, the leadership, the general manager, the coach. I feel like you said, if they see it in practice, I feel like they're gonna have that discussion and they're gonna start talking and coming up with ways. The way I would do it is, I told you, is the same way that this whole deal took place in the first place. The Rams had Jared Goff. He went out. He got them to a Super Bowl. They gave him an extension. And as time went on, they realized that this guy is not worth this extension, and we got to do something with this. Now, granted, they had to give away some picks, which is not ideal. But if you re-sign Goff, and hopefully, best case scenario to me is that you get a few more good years out of Goff, and then by this time Hooker is like, you can't hold him back no more. You just can't hold him back no more. And then you go out and you find a team that has all the pieces together, preferably an AFC team, and you make that trade with them, and you give Goff to that team, and now he's already got his contract, so. By that time he should be the same way we got him. When we got him, his contract back then, he was the highest paid. He's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in football. But by the time we got him, it was like it was an average, above average contract for a quarterback. And so maybe another team would take him down the road. They just need that quarterback to get him over the hump. To your point, the Steelers are always looking for a quarterback, but they always got a solid team. So maybe you send them to somewhere like that, and then Hooker takes over. And like you said, at that point, it's business, no hard feelings. But I don't want to pull the rug or be like, because that somebody said it, like, that sets the precedent that, hey, you could do unearthly things for the Lions, and at the end of the day, they're gonna throw you out. That's kind of how Jamal Williams was painting the picture, like, oh, I did all this for them and they just threw me out. Well, that's because you wasn't that good, bro. It was really the offensive line. And you could say that the offensive line does a lot to make Jared Goff look as good as he does, but quarterback is a little bit more vital than running back.
Yeah, man, and don't get me wrong, man. Like I said earlier, if they do extend them, I wouldn't be mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be mad at it, but I don't know, man. I just got this feeling that Hendon Hooker is gonna be something special. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a hunch. You know what I'm saying? It's not no solid facts behind that besides what he did in college. But we all know college doesn't. It can mean nothing when it comes to the NFL. But Yeah, man. I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying, man. Other than that, man, we got a lot of moves to be made in the off season. I want to say give props to JMO on a fantastic game yesterday, man. He was starting to look like the receiver that I thought he was going to be. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be only going to get stronger and better as his career goes on, barring him getting hurt or anything. Because, like you said yesterday, I think the 49ers were actively trying to hurt him yesterday. And we already know what St. Brown is going to be, man. But if we add the right pieces to this team, man, I already thought we were damn near unstoppable this year, man. So if we add the right pieces, we I know how you are about getting a bad guy, but the culture guys seem to be working out too, man. And if you fit this team, you fit their work ethic, you fit their if I get beat down, I'm gonna get right back up mentality. Then yeah, bring them on in, man. And then well, with what we accomplished this year, guys are gonna want to come to this team. So I mean, I think you're gonna have your pick of guys.
I saw a meme and it was from The Simpsons. I don't know if you ever seen that episode, but it was one episode. It was one of those Treehouse of Horror episodes where they found like a monkey's paw, and they make a wish and the finger will go down. And first off, the meme said, "I want Detroit to win today," and then it showed like a screenshot of the Pistons winning. And the monkey paw. The other thing is, I feel like the monkey paw is all in my life when it comes to the Lions, man. Because I was like, man, I want to get rid of Stafford. And then the monkey paw was like, Jared Goff. And then secondly, I was like, man, I want a bad guy on this team. And the monkey paw was like, see that Gardner Jackson. So man, maybe one day. I mean, I did want Hooker. I did want Penei Sewell. So I guess I'm not totally cursed when I asked for stuff for the Lions, but I want Michael Parsons, but then Penei Sewell came. That was my first one. So I mean, the monkey paw, it's like 50-50. But yeah, man, to your point, yeah, the Lions, they a good team now, man. Like I said, we here, we in it, and yeah, I agree, man. People are gonna want to come here.
Yeah, man. So, like I was saying earlier, man, we gonna keep the pod up, man. Support us. Any breaking news, big news, we will be here to cover it. We'll be here for the draft. We'll be here for big signings. We'll be here if the Pistons can decide on what to do and when. And depending on what's going on with the Tigers, we're not real big into the Tigers and the Red Wings, but we if we can, we'll cover them too. But man, thank y'all for tuning in with us all season long, man. Really appreciate it, man. Check us out. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Tell your friends about us. And until next season, man, go Lions.